So George, is it true that you appeared in Star Wars?
That is actually true, Luke. I played a number of different droids in both The Last Jedi and A Solo Story, and believe it or not, my personal assistant and trainer was actually Anthony Daniels, Mr. C-3PO himself. But that aside, you actually worked on Batman with Heath Ledger.
It is true, George. I often work in front and behind the camera.
And so far as I know, you are actually in an upcoming Netflix show that's extremely popular.
Whoa, George, it is true, but I'm actually not really allowed to talk about that.
Oh, all right.
But George, talking of films, is it actually true that you're an award-winning filmmaker? Your film was placed at both BAFTA and the BFI.
One of my proudest achievements, I suppose. But forget about that for a sec, because you are ranked the #1 Weller hair model in the world.
Well, George, it's true. Have you seen my hair, bro? But forget that. You mentioned that you wrote a book, and I know that you've written more.
I've actually got 3 books available on Amazon with more to come. But forget all of that, because you are actually an extremely unique guided meditation healing expert, and I've even heard many accolades from many individuals whom you have transformed to bring them into a much happier, more content state of mind.
Yeah, George, it's true. This is all true, but forget all that. We have to get on with the show.
And I was reading an essay, of all things, by the great, you know him, Aldous Huxley. No, you probably don't know him actually. I bet no one who's
Brave
watching
New
this
World,
video.
is it? Brave
That's
New
the
World?
guy. You know him. Now, I'm a big fan of Aldous Huxley's essays, which most people ain't never read. And I read an essay this morning on the train called Accident. I don't know if I'm saying it right. It sounds like accident, but accident. And what it is he talks about how very long time ago, you know, a few 100,000, not 100,000 years, but about 1,000 years or so, people very much believed in demons. They believed in spirits, right? They believed that there were things that got into us and made us feel very, very bad, very glum, very miserable. But here's what really got me, right? What really got me is I was thinking, I get the point, Aldous. I love his essays, I get the point, okay? Yeah. The point's been made, Aldous. All right?
We get it, Aldous, all right?
Exactly.
Pipe down.
But then, evidently I didn't. He was one step ahead of me the whole time, because this is the final line of his essay, and it really struck a chord with me. It said, but with us, meaning his generation, about 1928, I think he wrote this, he said, with us, it is not a sin or a disease, it is a state of mind which fate has forced upon us. What he's saying is, we acknowledge boredom, things like that, is not a demon. It is a state of mind which fate has forced upon us. Meaning, and this is so, I think, more relevant now than ever, especially with lockdown and stuff, but we don't perceive boredom, sadness, despair, loneliness, emptiness as a demonic force. We take it as life. A lot of people are like, that's how life is. And his overall point was, back then, they literally were so against those feelings that they saw it as a demon. They literally thought a demon has invaded me and made me feel bad. And now we accept it like, yeah, that's life. Oh, you hate your job? That's life, get used to it. Oh, you hate being in school? That's life, get used to it. Now, I'm not saying that, 1,000 years ago, everyone was happy all the time, but because obviously they weren't. Life, has its difficulties. He talks about that too. But it's a very valid point that if in the world people actually thought, fucking hell, it's an evil spirit to make me feel that way. And the point is you're not supposed to live your whole life feeling like that. You're not supposed to get used to it. And what I wanted to talk about on this topic, right, was in regards to the sadness and the negativity and the suicides that have been happening during lockdown, right? I'm going to bridge this in another way, okay? I used to have a dance teacher, okay, once upon a time when I was in dance and she said to me that one of the hardest things about training a young dancer is to teach them the difference between good pain and bad pain, okay? Like when you exercise, sure, there's a point where it's like no pain, no gain. But she's like, at the same time, there is a kind of pain that is bad and potentially damaging. So like, let's say you're trying to do the splits or stretching, whatever. How do you teach a child to know within themselves when the pain is good for them versus when it's bad for them? And I have started to acknowledge there are certain things where we say you go to school and you don't like it, but your parents say, no, it's good for you. And your teachers say, no, it's good for you. And you write an essay you don't want to write, and they say, no, it's good for you. And you do an exam where you have to revise for, no, it's good for you. you can get very quickly adjusted to thinking when you feel bad, it's good for you. But it isn't. There are so many circumstances when it's not. And I think we're living in one of the worst that we've known in our lifetime, where people are thinking, stay indoors is good for me. Stare at the four walls is good for me. Don't speak to anyone, it's good for me. You can adapt to feelings of negativity and think, I'm supposed to feel this way. It's good for me. And I just love the fact that Huxley sort of punched you in the face verbally at the end by emphasizing that originally, if you felt that way, they said it was a demon. And now we just take it as, that's how I feel. If you're the kind of person who feels that way, and everyone does sometimes, you can get stuck thinking, I'm supposed to feel bad. But you should think, it's a fucking demon. If I feel bad, it's a fucking demon. I don't want to spend my whole life feeling like this. Fucking hell.
You need to slay that demon.
You need to slay that demon.
You need to slay that demon.
We'll return after these messages.
I've been hearing these sounds coming from the basement.
They say it's the scariest book of all time. The only book that's alive. You've heard of books you can't put down. Well, this book will put you down.